circle there. So now, because we made that variable private, we can't see anything here. Oh, actually no, before we go on to that, we're going to set our radius to 0.1, just because I know that works. And then we have to worry about what the ground is looking for. So and you can set that to like different layers here within Unity, and I'll just go through this now, because we want to create a new layer for the ground. So if you click layers here, you'll see there's an assortment of different layers that are kind of default ones for Unity. And click on edit layers here, and in user layer 8 we'll type in ground, and we'll also create a player one, just so it might come in handy in the future. So then we go back over here and click on ground, click on the first ground and hold shift and then click on the last one, so we have them all selected, and then go over here to layer and select ground. So now every one of these objects is assigned to the ground layer, and then we go back to our player, go down to here, and for what is ground we'll click ground there. And now, like I was saying, we set that bool to be private because we don't need to be able to interact with it while we're playing the game or anything like that, but we want to be able to see what it is now while we're doing this. So if you click on, there's 3 little lines in the top corner here with an arrow beside it. If you click on that and click on debug and we scroll back down, see now we can see the grounded variable here. We can't interact with it, we can't do anything to it, but it's just we can see it. So if we hit play, and now we can see the characters on the ground, and look, there's a little check mark. That means it's true, and that means it's on the ground. We jump, it goes off, he comes back down, he's on the ground. So perfect, we know that's working. So now we go, oh no, that's the wrong thing. So now we go back in here. So now we know that the ground thing is working, and at this point here where we're checking for the space bar being pressed, we're going to add another little check here to make sure that the player's on the ground. So now we type ampersand twice and just grounded. So basically what that does is it checks that you're inputting the space button, and also it checks that you're on the ground. And now we'll hit save, Control and S to save, go back to the game, press play. Once it's finished compiling down here, now if we jump, we can only jump on the ground. If we press it a load of times, no more jumping madly up into space, which isn't something that we want to happen in the game really. And there you go. But we can't get up onto this platform here. Look, we're stuck. We can't. It's really hard to reach up. We can't go. Whoop, oh, can't quite make it. So what we need is a double jump. Every good platformer needs a double jump really. So double jump is relatively easy to actually put into the game. It basically only depends on like one variable. So to do this, we're going to go another private bool. We're going to call this double capital J jumped. It's always kind of a standard of when you're writing code for variables that the very first letter of the variable you make a small letter, and then if it goes on to another word you make the first letter of that word a capital letter. So here you have double jumped, what is ground check radius. It just makes it much easier to read, or else it's just like a jumble of letters and nobody really knows what's going on. So we got our private bool jumped. What we're going to do is we're going to create another input here. We're going to copy this little bit down to there, and we'll just create some curly brackets, some open and close ones, and close that there. And we're going to copy this bit of code and put that in there. So now what we want to do is we have a double jump variable, so he'll be able to double jump if he's not already grounded, or if he's not already double jumped. So if he hasn't double jumped, so not double jumped, then he'll be able to jump again. But we don't want this to happen just when he's on the ground as well. So not double jumped, and also he's not grounded. So now when he's not double jumped and he's not on the ground, then he should be in the air. But what's determining whether he's double jumped or not? So basically we're going to add another little if grounded, close that bracket. And now we're only doing one line of code here, much like we have done other places, but just to show this. So rather than having to open and close little curly brackets, if you're only doing one line of code after an if statement, then you only have to put it in here. You don't have to create these little curly brackets. It kind of just saves a little bit of time on typing. So if grounded, if he's on the ground, then double jumped is equal to true. No, sorry, double jumped is equal to false, because he hasn't double jumped because he's on the ground. Yeah, so that makes sense. And then when you have double jumped, we want to set double jumped is equal to true. So there we go. We save that. We pop back into the game. Hit the play button. Once it's all compiled, there we go. Double jump. Look, you got a double jump. You can only jump once. You can't jump madly into the air or anything. So look, we got a double jump. Now we can get up onto this platform. Absolutely perfect. Just what we wanted. It's nice and simple. Like I said, it's only one little variable and then a couple of lines of extra code. But one thing that we've got going on here now that you don't really want to have when you're writing lots and lots and lots of code. We've got 2 lines of code here that are the exact same. And that's fine. I mean, it's only two little lines that are the exact same. But imagine if you've got like a little segment of code that's like 20 lines long, but you want to do it in the same place and different times. You don't want to keep putting in like 20 lines of code over and over and over again. And you end up with like 100 or something extra lines of code that you don't need. So what we're going to do instead is after void update, so after this curly bracket here, we're going to space that down. So before this last one, we don't want to go outside that. What we're going to type is, we'll make this public void jump. And we'll open our curly brackets and close them again, same as before. And what we'll do is we'll take this bit of code here, pop that in there, and then now this little section will be what determines how the player is jumping. So we don't need this whole bit anymore. So rather than having to just delete it all, if we put 2 slashes like that, and the same here, then that gets rid of that. It doesn't get handled by the system at all, so you don't have to worry about it. And instead we're going to type here jump, then 2 little brackets and our little colons at the end that you always have to put in. It's always important. Those are one of the most common mistakes that I make anyway, certainly, is forgetting to put them in at the very end of the sentence or each line. And there you go. So now what it does is it calls this jump code. Again, it's only one line of code. It doesn't really save that much space. But imagine if this was 20 lines long. You could replace all of it into here and just replace it with one little bit saying do this, whatever it is. So we'll hit save, go back to the game, hit play. And perfect. It all works perfectly fine. So there you go. That's how to add double jumps to the game, how to check that your player's on the ground, which is always very important. And next time we will continue with more fun and adventures in 2D platformness. So if you enjoyed this video, thanks for watching. Share it around. If you know people who are interested in learning how to make a game, tell them, hey look, here's some video for you to watch. But most importantly, come back soon for the next episode. Woo!